Havisha. Yeah,
Hi, Dipali.
Havisha. Hi. Yeah.
Mm.
So,
Okay. I was just telling everybody that today is anxiety disorders.
mhm. Yeah. Yes,
Is my
anxiety
voice
disorder.
echoing?
Your voice is too loud, interestingly. Or is
Okay.
my volume too loud?
Is it better?
I'll just reduce my volume from this side also because I can hear it too loud and it's seemingly blasting into my ears. Anyways, yeah.
Okay.
So, coming to anxiety disorder.
Yes.
Yes. So, anxiety which we might be having right now to start this live show, and anxiety which everybody has before doing anything which is of importance to oneself, or even not. But yes, many of us have heard about anxieties before exam, anxiety before coming on the stage, anxiety before a important presentation, anxiety before your promotions, uh, or anxiety of crossing the road, or anxiety of how would life be after COVID.
That
Uh,
is the pertaining question. That anxiety, I think, is everywhere now.
uh, most of the anxieties are everywhere. Who says anxiety isn't there? And that's why I think what we'll now over here begin with is understanding that anxiety is normal, but where anxiety becomes a concern and where anxiety needs to be, where if you have that much of anxiety, you might need to look at going to a therapist or somebody for some sort of an intervention. So, anxiety, fears, we all have it. In some form or the other. So I have an uncle who is fearful of flying. I remember my last accident, and after that, I was fearful of driving on that crossing. Every time I would slow my speed to 10 kilometers per hour before crossing that road. Uh, so, anxieties or fears we all have. None of us might not have zero of it. And we are not saying we need to have zero of it. So fears. Fears can be due to external factors, due to internal factors. External factors, as I said, एग्जाम आ रहा है, रोड क्रॉस करनी है, ट्रैफिक है, और
कोविड का रिजल्ट
इंटरनल
आने वाला है ब्लड टेस्ट का.
कोविड का ब्लड टेस्ट का रिजल्ट नहीं, लाइफ का रिजल्ट आने वाला है. तो the COVID is anyway going to be, COVID is again an external factor. An illness which is created, or trauma is an external factor. Earthquakes, volcanoes, external factors. There can be a lot of such factors which can cause anxiety, trauma for us. And internally also, I'm actually reminded of a client where every time this is a client who would, every time when about to, the relationship would reach a stage where he was about to, he has to commit to the relationship, he would freak out and get out of that relationship. So it might be an internal reason, and here obviously I'm talking of a client where we ultimately found that he was not very sure about committing into relationship because he felt he was responsible for his mother's sexual abuse by his uncle, and not getting into the details of it. But there can be a lot of internal factors. There can be I had a client where the person would have intense anxiety to perform anything professionally, uh, because he knew if he would start excelling in his profession, he would leave his house because his profession demands that, and thus would not anymore support his father, whom he hated because his father had abused him throughout his life and hit his mother and him as far as his memory goes. So these might be internal factors. So obviously here I'm talking of intense cases where the anxiety might be due to internal factors, but very simple thing. When we choose a specific when we choose our boyfriends, we basically choose based on completely screening him on our anxiety. Like I had a very clear cut understanding, Sardar nahi chahiye. So simple as that. Pagdi bandha, gadbad hai.
Yeah, right.
It
But
could be
here,
any.
I'll interrupt you here a little bit here.
Yeah.
Dipali, we are going in intense cases here, in case studies, which you are right. But a lot of personality factors also depend upon that.
Yeah.
So when you talk
Yes.
about internal anxiety, so a lot of personality is also included into that.
Yeah, absolutely. Internal personality. Yeah, I'm getting into my cases, so I'm talking of the deepest causes which I can figure out. But yes, something what we define as personality is exactly which has a deeper reason to it.
Yes.
So, yes. So basically, somewhere our own temperament, our own personalities makes us anxious towards a lot of things,
That
which
is
are
the key
internal
point.
factors. Yeah. Yes, good you stopped me. Otherwise, I would have gone into complete analysis of the theories.
Yes.
So let's come on to the idea of where we are actually saying where we should, where in anxiety we should seek therapy. So, Isha, let's start with that. So let's
Something that I do
hear
want
you.
to address it right now. You rightly said, Dipali, that because of the situation that we are in, COVID, or I mean, the situation that we are in after the lockdown, it's an external factor which has caused a lot of anxiety in most of us. But because of personality, because of our own vulnerabilities, that anxiety is affecting each of us differently.
Absolutely.
Right. So some people, if they get ill, maybe just a flu, but they think that it is COVID, they may have COVID positive, and they get anxious and they take steps to it. Something that all of us need to understand as anxiety or an anxiety disorder is that when we get anxious, we take actions. Right? And in anxiety disorder, a patient with anxiety disorder takes action for that very moment without thinking the long-term consequence of it. That is one of the symptoms that we say of anxiety disorder, primary symptom. That when we, almost like an impulse, Dipali, you would be able to explain it better. But if I get an impulse, I do an action which calms me down, right? But I don't think the long-term consequences of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was talking of, in a more analytical way, that's a defense mechanism. And the defense mechanism, we use those defense mechanisms which we learned as a child. So they are more simplistic. They are more childish. So they are more, in a way, yes, it might benefit us today, or it might not anymore benefit us today because we learned it long back and we are still using them. Like very well assuming that nothing, all of us know how important it is to wear mask, how important the social distancing is. Fact, down the line, many of us are trying to behave that we are very strong, we are very brave, will not wear mask, nothing would happen to us. There's nothing great about trying to pretend that nothing would happen to it. It's almost telling yourself no, denying that this situation exists. One is denial. So secondly, repressing my own emotions around it and almost behaving like a childish way that I'm going out and I'm almost doing the opposite of what I need to do. So it is almost a very immature behavior, very childish behavior, or very just symptom relief behavior, where we might, if we feel that this is dirty, we might immediately wash it. If we feel, I haven't studied enough, I would just sit and cram things, and without really understanding what has happened.
Again, you're quite right here. It's again short term. They don't think long term. Short term gratification, immediate gratification.
Yes, immediate gratification, which becomes a habit, and it ultimately becomes a problem in the long term because it becomes a
Yes,
habit.
and here therapy comes in.
Exactly.
Or we come
So
in.
any one of us come in. So basically, the whole concept is where it starts impacting you, because none of the behavior which was done to handle the situation was wrong. Like, I'm reminded of this client of mine who had intense habit of cleaning. She was a doctor, and she had come to us with OCD, with intense need to clean everything. And when we digged it down, we realized that, it started with the fact that when she had delivered this baby, her mother-in-law would be telling her that, you're not doing this right, you're not doing this right. So can we this needs to be cleaner, this needs to be done. But she didn't listen. Being a doctor, she was very comfortable about what she's doing. But coincidentally, the child did fall sick. And after that, she could not recover. She went into that obsessive thing that, everything which her mother-in-law might have told her during that stage. And that was also doing a lot of cleanliness. She actually went into intensively doing it. So whatever is done even in an excessive form. It's so much excessive that it becomes a problem, where we are talking of the obsessive compulsive disorder. It is
Yes, here
intense.
I just want to, yeah, you're quite right here where you mentioned about OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. But we need, as we started the session, Dipali, the problem is anxiety is normal and all of us have anxiety. But when the anxiety starts interfering with our day-to-day activity, decision making, our decision, each and every decision, our next step is based on that anxiety. Then it becomes a disorder. Then it becomes nearing the disorder. And
Absolutely.
it's very interesting. It's very interesting that when you say about the doctor, I have read enough material now to say that anxiety disorders somewhere start in early adolescence also.
Absolutely.
I would want to get here your opinion on this. That I was reading an article, a case study where the child was constantly told, compared to the younger sibling, compared to other children. That as parents, like in Indian context, parents always do. That तुम्हारा भाई ऐसा कर रहा है, तुम्हारी बहन ऐसा कर रही है, तुम्हारे cousins ऐसे कर रहे हैं, बच्चे और क्लास में तुम्हारे ऐसे कर रहे हैं. That generally develops anxiety a lot in children. And it manifests in a form of a GAD, general anxiety disorder, phobias, social phobias, right? Or an OCD also in adulthood.
Absolutely. And if you see the Freudian theory, it anyway says that anxiety is developed much earlier, and that is the pre-positioning of what we develop as an adult. Whenever it is almost the repetitive patterns which we basically see right from the childhood to the adulthood. And interestingly, what you have said about comparison in India, that's a huge, huge problem. We all are compared so much with the external world. It is too difficult to basically see yourself as an individual and see yourself separate from the society. So anything which we are doing separate from the society, we become anxious about it. we are questioning our own self-esteem. And indeed over here, interestingly, I don't know, hadn't thought it that way, but this makes me even realize the whole concept of body dysmorphic disorder. So, and reminded of this client of mine who had come to me, who came to me only because she was not being able to get married, and she was approximately 29, I think, at that time. And this whole anxiety that, I'm not finding a guy of my choice. I don't know what to do. I'm getting anxious. I'm getting depressed. I'm all over. I don't know what to do. But soon we came to know there was huge issue about her own personal body. She had already got herself, she had restructured her breast to enlarge her breast. And ultimately, she actually even quit the therapy because she had only that much of money with which she could get the other breast enlarged. And she couldn't afford the therapy. So, this whole comparison, this whole idea that, there needs to be a specific body type, there needs to be specific way of living. And yes, in teenagers, there's a lot about how your body should be looking, how you should be behaving, how the whole concept of are you man enough, the whole concept coming up, even responsible for the whole patriarchy to follow, and maybe even a basic reason behind the factor of abuses. Sexual abuses are even done half of the time just to fulfill the fact that I am man enough to basically tease any random girl.
Okay. So we are digressing a little bit.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we are digressing a little bit. But the main point that we're trying to tell here is we're discussing is about perception. So when an individual is anxious, the perception about self and the perception about the environment changes.
Absolutely.
Right. So how I would see myself and how I would see the other, how they are behaving towards us, that is going to be impacted by anxiety, how anxious you are.
Absolutely.
Right.
So if we have covered up, yeah, sure.
Go on.
Yeah. So I said, if we have covered up the perception part of it, which is one of the basic reasons of anxiety, let's cover up the second thing is the perception leads to the thought process.
Yes.
And there comes a coping mechanism. So it almost goes into that cycle of, what we perceive. Yeah. So basically somewhere down the line, and where we are talking of the thought process, we are talking of thought processes I think, Isha, let's talk about the cognitive distortion from you. If we have come to the thought process.
Cognitive distortion, yes. In simple words, when we called obsessions, right? Our thoughts about a particular behavior changes, about ourselves changes. We start interpreting cues in the environment in a different manner. So those are cognitive distortions that happen. Sometimes in severe cases, we get paranoid. Everybody may be against us or everybody is plotting against us. Something like that. Right? Or I have to recheck again. Doubts, pathological doubts come in regarding myself, regarding my behavior, regarding everybody else's behavior around me. Right? For example, in work, simple work scenario, Dipali, both of us are working women, and a lot of working women, sometimes they start feeling, or men actually, women I'm saying because it's a little more in females, right? Lifetime prevalence is more in females. Because we start doubting that this person, did she mean like that? If she told me, my boss said something to me, did she mean like that? Does that mean like that? Is she trying to give me another message? It's almost like that.
Absolutely.
So that.
Yeah. So basically, thought processes and the conflicts that we are talking of cognitively, obviously, we are talking of the distortions, but when we are looking at it analytically, we are looking at the conflicts which might be due to the external situations and the internal desires. If in COVID situation, one of the very basic conflict which is coming up is the desire to go out and meet your friends and basically be the socializing animal that we are. And the demand of the hour is about refraining ourselves, restricting ourselves, and being maintaining, if we were going out, maintaining our distances. I remember I last went to meet my friend Manmeet in Karol Bagh, and I saw her and I opened my arms and she was like, Manmeet, Dipali, COVID. I was like, okay, let me move on. So, that very humanistic. And I think that's also the reason why people are looking more for relationships as of now, because nobody would over there say, please maintain your distance. And that's also the reason, if you see, a lot of people are actually, whose marriages were being kept on a hold, many people have decided to just jump into marriages at this stage, with a desire that, at least there would be something new and something permanent partner, at least for some time. An initial phase is obviously honeymoon phase. So, the best time to really make it work out. So this whole desire of wanting to go out or not wanting to go out. So the external scenario might in any way restrict a lot of things. Maybe because of finances, maybe because of your looks, maybe because of your capacities, maybe because of the time restraints by the female, for the females at home, anything. So there might be external factors which might restrict you with a number of things, but there might be internal desires where you want to do a lot of things. So this conflict is a huge conflict which leads to anxiety. Usually these are suppressed by finding ways of handling them, by denying them, using any sort of defense mechanism or any sort of logic that you can give yourself, or unconsciously even accepting it. It's sometimes just accepting that's how it is. So this is one of the conflicts that may be the cause of, the anxiety, or the other is the anxiety between what my moralistic ego says or my parents say and versus what is my desire.
Yes. So, again, we are going there again in a very analytical scene.
Yes.
Yes, that's the difference between you and me. I see more things more practically, CBT approach. Yes, and you see more in analytical.
Absolutely. And that's why we both needed to do it together, because we'll both keep stopping each other.
Yes. So in simple terms, right.
Yeah. So you can sum it up. Good.
Yes. So in simple terms, every day we come across things where we have two options generally, if not three. Right. Two options, what I feel I need and what should be done sometimes. Morally, moral question that you talked about, parents you talked about, or external restrictions that you talked about. That I want to meet a friend of mine, but external restrictions stop me from doing it. So these two options we generally get, and a lot of anxiety comes because of these two options also. So I need something. I need, for example, a MacBook Pro. These days, I'm after everybody's like, I need a MacBook Pro. Right? I need to upgrade myself. But restrictions of maybe finances, restrictions of maybe COVID also, because I can't go out so often and check out the new MacBooks. Right? So that ways, that is also like an overwhelming anxiety in me. Small things. So we are basically trying to say that a small thing like getting something for your desire and big things as in relationships, a life-changing situations can bring anxiety in an individual, can cause anxiety in an individual.
Absolutely.
Go on.
And it can manifest in multiple forms and multiple illnesses, not so basically, as I've been talking about the analytical version of it, something which I think something where I wanted to bring about the idea, let me say two things over here till now, that, till now what we were trying to both say is to differentiate between, what might cause anxiety and what might need intervention.
Yes.
Whereas intervention, as far as a basic understanding is, when we look at disorders are when your functioning is affected in any
Yes.
form.
That's very
Whereas
important,
when,
Dipali.
yeah, yeah,
That's very important. It takes few seconds on this
yeah,
because anxiety we all are feeling. It's a normal
yeah,
situation. It's normal to feel anxious about a situation, be it finances, be it COVID results, be it when we are going to go out, when things are going to get back normal, etc., etc.
हाँ,
But
पसीने
when
सबको आते हैं, हाथ सबके कांपते हैं, we feel chills, our breathing at times gets
our
awkward,
voice,
yeah, our
sometimes
voice
we
gets
don't feel, the
yeah,
person in front of us knows that we are getting anxious because the rapid speech would increase, our speech would increase, we get more
absolutely,
fidgety.
absolutely, absolutely. So
Yes.
anxiety is completely normal in a lot of ways, but when it starts impacting your work, it is what is
Yes.
needed interventions.
Yes.
Whereas
When it starts,
analytical, yeah,
hmm,
yeah, yeah,
decision
yeah, you
making
finish.
basically. I just don't want to say
Absolutely,
about work because work is a very big scenario, but our small decisions are also governed because of that. We unconsciously do it. You will be a better judge of that. Yes, but we unconsciously, our decisions are being governed because of anxiety.
absolutely, absolutely. So basically, when our decision starts get impacting, it's where
Hmm.
basically we need intervention, or
Hmm.
where we need. Whereas analytically, we even understand the fact that wherever we need for a personal growth, as
Hmm.
of today, you might not need intervention. Like the example
Hmm.
that I told about right in the beginning about this guy
Hmm.
who had anxieties in relationships. He wasn't
Hmm.
really wanting to work on it. The
Hmm.
only concern was to understand what it is. It was not
Hmm.
about the relationship aspect per se. He wanted
Hmm.
to work and grow himself. So
Hmm.
basically, in a lot of anxiety cases, anxieties are normal. But
Hmm.
wherever you think that you need intervention, wherever you think you need personal growth and you want to eradicate the concern, like very simple, like the uncle that I was talking about who has issues with flying,
Hmm.
he he might not have ever wanted to basically seek a doctor because
Hmm.
he can do without flying.
Hmm.
Now at his old age, he all of a sudden he calls me up. He's like, Dipali, don't you think I should work on it? I was like, okay, well, if you
Hmm.
think so, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, but
Otherwise,
a
it's
lot
not
of people,
impacting you.
Dipali, but I mean,
Yeah,
that's great that you mentioned, but a lot of people don't realize when they are at the borderline and when they need help also.
absolutely.
That's what we are trying to say here, that when it starts impacting your daily life, as you rightly mentioned, your decision making, and maybe sometimes you get feedback from your colleagues and your family members also.
Absolutely.
That
Indeed, if we look at anxiety as the base of all the illnesses, as Freudian looks at it,
hmm,
basically there are a lot of personality factors. Most of them are basically unconscious anxieties only. So
hmm,
anxieties obviously cannot doesn't mean that it'll. That's why I was talking of decision making. Sometimes we
hmm,
don't realize that the whole decision. That's where I was trying to stretch this point a little more. That decision
hmm,
making we might not even realize what is impacting our decisions sometime.
yes,
uh,
yes,
from like certain things that I have understood in my therapy over the years, uh, I would do it ever.
hmm,
I wouldn't understand why I was doing it. It was
hmm,
much
hmm,
easier for me to understand it when I went through therapy.
hmm,
And obviously, when we are looking at analytical work or psychodynamic work, we are looking at the idea of you just get interpretations, understanding of what your anxieties come from. And in
hmm,
anxiety, most of us, I don't think anybody says that, this should completely be eradicated. When we are even
hmm,
looking at the CBT model, we are basically looking at the idea of you coming to know this is the palette of what you have, what
hmm,
is you. So basically, what do you choose to do out of it is your choice. And
hmm,
here I come to this concept that, in therapy,
hmm,
I would like to really bring it up over here that when we are looking at therapy, therapy is not about healing, or healing in terms of anxiety खत्म हो जाएगी, anxiety zero हो जाएगी. There wouldn't be any anxiety. Everything would be hunky dory. It will be happy ever after. Nothing of that sort. Therapy is about a process, and it is a process of holding on. It is about containment. It is about being able to handle it. Interestingly, even today, I got a call from one of my clients, actually from her husband, basically saying that, what do you think is the improvement with my wife? And I said, interestingly, you need to ask her, because she doesn't want to continue therapy. And he said, you should actually give her therapy. And I said, understand one thing, therapy is not given, therapy is taken. I can't give therapy until the person takes it. And this was something which I learned very early in my training itself. I remember I was in a rehab center where this guy who was a client of ours, who said that, Dipali, if I don't take therapy, if I do nothing, he had come for alcohol abuse, what would you do? I said, nothing. And I was very sure it is nothing.
Right. So coming back, because a lot of time on this. So anxiety is generally can happen because of situations, internal, external, and a lot of because of substance abuse also. Consumptions of alcohol, maybe coffee also sometimes increases the anxiety. I
All
do
the
want to talk.
neurotic illnesses.
Yes.
Yeah, you can continue. All the neurotic illnesses, basically, the whole spectrum is basically out of anxiety. Yeah.
I do want to talk about a little bit because of OCD here, obsessive compulsive disorder here, because sometimes people feel that it's a personality aspect when the person is maybe getting a little too perfectionist, maybe a little too checking the logs or checking or cleaning contamination issues. It is not always a personality issue. It is sometimes OCD when it starts, for example, if you start checking the log 20 times in a day before going out or in between. If you keep your books or if you keep your room in a particular manner, rigid thought process, it starts affecting your daily routine. You take more time in doing a routine or a ritual before going on with your day. Right? Then it is an issue, then it is a concern.
OCD is more about getting control into life. OCD, when we are looking at it, might not at all do with the personality. Like one of my clients had OCD when she delivered, because all of a sudden, when she delivered, she realized that life has gone completely haywire, and she couldn't control anything. She had fantasized the film version of what would happen. Everything would go hunky dory after the child being born, and all of a sudden nothing happened, and she had issues all over, and she didn't know how to handle it. Indeed, later on, she did come and said, she said, my fantasy would end after having a child. The typical Hindi movie understanding, happy ever after. I never dreamt about, what would be after that. So,
Yes, so wrong ideas, fantasies, wrong ideas about life, perceptions again. We perceive things in a very different manner. And what happens to us in reality is almost like a trauma. And that increases the anxiety in us.
Absolutely. So basically the stressful so basically, yes, we have to understand anxiety can be because of external factors. It is the stressful situations externally happening. It might be the social situations, something which we were discussing today afternoon, that interestingly DSM has removed the external five axis understanding, but that was very important, because indeed I was commented by one of my colleague who is into psychoanalysis, and she said, Dipali, you're the only one who is concerned about the social issues, because these social issues does lead to a lot of distress, a lot of anxiety in itself. And that's why that's why even the differences that we see in various illnesses between the male and the females, some are genetical, for sure they are genetical, But
Mm.
indeed, anxiety, when I read the book on anxiety, the first thing that they're covering up is that, anxiety can be a huge discussion on, what is nature and what is nurture over here.
Yes,
Uh,
yes. So you are
so
right.
what?
I like to mention you got the right point. While we were discussing in the afternoon the multi-axonal axis diagnosis of DSM-4-TR that has been removed in DSM-5, I was sitting with my boss and colleague Madhvi, and I was just frantically going over that. How can I miss something like that? Such a huge change that has come up in DSM-4-TR and DSM-5, and I'm not aware of it yet. Almost,
Absolutely.
I remember telling you that I'm getting a little overwhelmed with the fact that I don't know this. That actually made me
Because
a little anxious. You're right there.
because it was very important, and anyway, changes are anxiety provoking. So coming to even understanding that,
Mm,
and okay, this also makes me this took me to a flashback idea of, what the COVID
mm,
for Indian was even
mm,
more stressful is usually when
mm,
there's a change of scenario, we accept it or we deny it. In the
mm,
case we accept it, we make changes.
mm,
So, that helps us, it creates anxiety, but it deals with it. But when
mm,
we are basically stuck with the idea that, we wouldn't change, like
mm,
with COVID, one of the biggest anxiety which I'm really coming across with a lot of people is they're waiting for time to go back.
mm. Right,
Uh,
right.
so this is one of the worst expectations that we can have.
Mm,
Uh, we have to basically move towards the change, because
mm.
even if once the COVID vaccine will be out and a lot of things would come to normal, but the things wouldn't be the same. The
Yes.
things would have already
Mm,
changed. So
mm,
anxiety, it is important that we learn to change, contain. Where I was discussing about, it is not about eradicating anxiety, it is about containing it, holding it, changing with it, adjusting
Adaptive.
it, adapting to
In
it.
simple words,
It's yeah,
adapting with it.
yes,
Managing
absolutely.
and adaptive with it. Containment is a very psychoanalytic term, which I completely agree. But in
But
basic language,
interestingly, it's even used in medical terms.
yes, it is. It is. But in CBT again, in cognitive
Uh,
and basic layman
yeah,
terms,
yeah.
it's adaptive and managing anxiety is what we teach or what we help in therapy.
So basically, what like the people who don't understand the word containment, I usually explain it with water, and that's
Mm,
not my example. That's what has been written everywhere around.
mm,
That water usually
mm,
is all over if you spill it on the floor. It
mm,
will spread.
mm,
It will not have any use. It is of waste. It is all
mm,
over.
mm,
To be
mm,
useful, to be
mm,
productive, to be
mm,
to actually get some result out of that water. नींबू
mm,
पानी बनाना है कि नहाने के लिए इस्तेमाल करना है कि
mm,
whatever.
mm,
Simple. You need to put that into a container. You need
mm,
to put it into
mm,
a whole tank per thing. So this
mm,
is about containment. So anxiety
mm,
similarly, you can't be all
mm,
over. So
mm,
adjustment is not actually a replacer of the word containment. Yes,
mm.
yes, adjustment
No,
is
not
part of
adjustment.
it.
I'm saying adaptive.
Adaptive is even a word which is needed to get contained. But adaptive is when the change happens. So basically,
Mm,
we do need to adapt, but containment is about holding it together. So all the emotions need to
mm,
be held together. So we need to
mm,
hold these emotions together so that anxiety can be contained, and
mm,
which is done in therapy sessions with we being just being there, holding it for you in
mm,
therapy, and that's what it is. Anxiety cannot be healed. It cannot be eradicated. Basically, it can heal is not at all a word, but it cannot be eradicated.
mm. True.
So anxiety is not something which can be completely eradicated, which even the medicines believe in. And that's why the addiction to the medicines of anxiety,
Mm. Yes, but
right?
treatment is both pharmacotherapy and therapy, psychotherapy. Any whichever
Yeah,
kind of psychotherapy would you want to.
Yeah, pharmacotherapy, but in all the cases, obviously, the pharmacotherapy is even provided in a limited form. And yes, the pharmacotherapy helps in immediately relief of the symptom, which might be needed in a lot of cases. Because when you have too much of anxiety, you cannot concentrate, you cannot pay attention to anything, you're all over. Sometimes you need some holder to hold it right there and then. And that holding part is sometimes that is important. So even for the therapy to start maybe at that time, that medicines come into place. So there comes the role of the pharmacotherapy. So obviously I'm not saying that the pharmacotherapy, I don't come from a hardcore belief that pharmacotherapy is not at all
That's
needed.
okay.
But yes,
Oh.
but yes, anxiety cannot be managed until unless you go for therapy. Pharmacotherapy can just give you a relief at that moment, but cannot basically resolve the issue. The resolution of the issue, the containment of the issue, the understanding of, indeed, a lot of time we don't even know where the issue comes from. So basically, the first process is even understanding of it. Like one of my client had come in with this anxiety of, means he could not understand why is he not able to say anything when there is an interview when there is an interview. Simple as that. So he could not get the job or change the job. Yes, coincidentally he had got a good college placement, but then after that he could not. He would completely get anxious, he would get choked, he would forget things. So basically understanding of that phase, that first of all understanding where this anxiety comes from. So obviously different definitions. In CBT, you'll basically find the distortions. In analysis, I'll try to find the defense mechanisms, and I'll try to find the histories behind it. In family therapy, all different therapies might find the core reasons behind it. So understand where is it coming from. Then the
Right. So
process comes about.
before signing off, Dipali, let's summarize what we are trying to say
Yeah,
here.
yeah, absolutely. So you do the summarizing.
Okay. We are saying that anxiety is very normal and it is experienced by all of us. None of us, both of us are therapists for 15 years now. It's not that we don't feel anxiety on a daily level, but how we manage the anxiety, how we contain the anxiety, and what do we do with our anxiety is very, very important. So when it starts affecting our daily life, our decision making, our work, and we spend more time in our rituals and dealing with our anxiety than productivity, then time to see a therapist or ask for help.
Absolutely. Yep. So let's close it here.
Okay, done. See you soon
Right.
then.
Take care. Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye.
Bye.